character, Drake and Josh.
Yeah,
that's what I watched.
Yeah.
I watched Sweet Life of Zack and Cody when I was 1.
I'm turning this all off right now.
I was born in 2004.
I'm gonna die.
We're so cool, yeah, we're so cool. We're so cool, yeah. Fuck you too, cool schmuck.
Hello, and welcome to Goodnight Channel. I'm Jake.
I'm PJ.
And we played Gone Home. Game 3 of 52. Gone Home. Created by Fulbright. I don't know why I wrote this, so I'm going to ignore it.
They also made Minerva's Den, which I've never played.
Did they? The mod?
No. You're thinking of Minerva, just Minerva. The Half-Life 2 mod? No. They made Minerva's Den, the Bioshock 2 DLC.
They made that?
Yes, it's the only one that anyone likes.
I never played it because
neither have I.
I hated Bioshock 2.
Everyone says the only reason to play Bioshock 2.
Minerva's
and by
Den?
everyone, I mean, I don't know who I'm talking about, but I've heard this, so it must be.
It must be true.
It must be true because I heard it one time on the internet.
It can't be that long, so I'll just watch it. Because now I'm interested suddenly.
You'll probably get the same experience because it's a Fulbright game.
Yeah, exactly. It came out in 2013. I don't remember what month because I didn't care. You know what else came out in 2013?
Papers, Please.
Besides that?
Bioshock Infinite.
Yes. All right. So yeah, it came out in 2013. I played it right around when it came out. I don't know if I should say that I stole it, but I did. But it doesn't matter because now I own 2 copies of it. So
I think you own like 20 copies.
Yeah, I probably do. I've bought it for people. I own multiple copies of it via Humble Bundles and Steam sales probably. I don't know. I know I own a bunch of it, and I've given out keys to friends because of how much I like this game. It really touched me. So I can't wait to talk about it some more.
I'd like to start off what I'm going to talk about by saying I like this game. I'd like to preface all of my stuff by saying I like this game. So I think that should give you an idea of what my notes are probably all the things I don't like. Yeah. Again, another thing I want to preface, I don't want this to be like a final reveal at the end where I reveal a twist that I really like the game. The parts that I like about the game are really, really hard to qualify. It's not, the parts I don't like are really easy. But the parts I do like are hard to explain. You know, they're kind of like emotional stuff, pacing things that are actually really cool. So yeah, a lot of the things I'm going to have to say, because I'm the one who played this game recently.
Yeah, I have not played this in 2 years. I think I played it this in the same year. I feel like I played it like twice for some reason.
Yeah.
Or I watched a friend play it again, maybe. But it doesn't have the same impact, I think, on the second playthrough as the first one does, especially since I was so detailed with my playthrough.
Also, the other issue is I went into it knowing everything about the game pretty much.
Yeah, which is a shame, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think it still holds up.
Yeah.
Without it, I think a little tiny couple things were lost on me because of it, but that's okay. You want to talk a little bit about the game, like the overall, like the introduction to it? Or I guess I will.
Whatever
since
you want
I played it.
You played it.
Okay. So you start the game. It takes place in 1995. You know this because the game tells you there's also a litany of evidence everywhere that it takes place in 1995, in case you didn't know. And you play as a woman named Caitlin. Everyone refers to her as Katie. 21 is her age.
That's important for some reason.
Well, because you're older.
Yeah.
You're the older sister of 2. You have a mom. You have a dad.
Yeah. It's your standard nuclear family.
Yeah. 2. Yeah, standard nuclear family. 2 women.
3 women, 1 dad.
3 women, 1 dad. Standard nuclear.
Yeah.
Nuclear.
Jesus.
And you start the game as Katie. You arrive at your family's home. Their new home, I believe.
It's yes. A mansion, if you will.
Yeah. It's not like a mansion like you would like. It's not like the Spencer Mansion. Although, actually, it's a lot like the Spencer Mansion. Now that I think about it. So you arrive at their new home, and no one's there. And you're kind of just left to figure stuff out. Kind of. You get notes. The gameplay is just you walk around and you pick up objects and you look at them and you put them back, or you throw them across the fucking room to break your immersion, which is what I kept doing.
Sure.
Because I was like, I'm getting emotional in this game. Let me throw pencils around so I can remember that I'm a player.
Yeah. Look at this gameplay.
The game is kind of sectioned off into 3 segments, sort of. Kind of like it has a very... What is cool about the game, right off the bat, is it is a walking around... It's kind of the first of many, quote-unquote, walking simulators. Probably the biggest name one, I would say.
I think it got the most traction.
Yeah. And you walk around the house, but as opposed to, I think, most walking simulators, it has a really nice narrative structure.
Yeah.
Like, it has an Act 1, an Act 2, and an Act 3.
Yeah.
And the house is kind of segmented into it without really realizing it, although... And I was going to say, although it has that one locked door, but it really... subverts that, because you don't actually get a key to go into the locked door on your right. You actually go around the whole house and you come in through the back way. So it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
The game does a lot of really cool stuff with its structure. Right away, I was kind of... I was like, oh, I'm going through, I'm reading the notes. I'm like, this is actually pretty nice. I feel kind of immersed. And then I picked up a thing, and my fucking sister's voice started playing inside of my ears, and I went, what? I didn't pick up a note, which I would understand.
Yeah.
I picked up some random object.
Yeah.
And then Sam, who's my little sister in the game, just starts talking inside of my head. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, it no one's going to want to get to the end of this game and have to read all that.
Yeah, I just... It's the first thing that stood out to me as kind of weird, because they could have just left them as notes. I mean, she leaves notes everywhere about everything else.
But I don't feel like those types of notes make sense to be left around, because it's your parents. They're going to pick these up and go, oh, our daughter's dealing with these things.
She leaves other notes that are just like that.
But I think they're more hinty
yeah.
than the ones she writes to her sister, who she clearly can confide in.
I think,
It's a motive of communication, and the game has the ability to tell you something over top of your playing, as if you can multitask.
I find it weird. There's a big motif in the game of cassettes and cassette players.
Sure.
Maybe it's not a motif. Maybe they just made the model one time and went, that's really nice. But I choose to believe... I give the game the benefit of the doubt and say it means something. She really likes cassette tapes. They only had cassette tapes. It's 1995. But she enjoys them a lot. If you look at all the ones that her friend... Lonnie has around, and I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But if you look at all the ones that Lonnie gives her, they're all, they have stuff in them. They're clearly special.
Yeah.
And I feel like it'd be a nice thing to maybe put a note somewhere for Katie from Sam that said, hey, look in these specific areas that are a little bit hidden that have these tapes in them. And you can listen to the tapes. I would feel a lot better if it were a little bit more contextualized, because everything else in the game is.
The problem is, okay, the cassette tapes could work, but how do you listen to them?
I would still feel better picking it up and just having it play magically.
Sure.
I could hand wave it away by saying, maybe I have a Walkman.
Yeah, but that makes sense, because in high school I made mixtapes, but on CDs, because by that point cassettes were dead.
Yeah,
and I would say things on them, like, hey, girl from middle school I don't want to say the name of right now. Ooh. Remember how you really like Kid Rock? Well, here's all your favorite Kid Rock songs.
Here's every Kid Rock song smashed into one song.
Basically. That's the sad part.
I call it down with the sickness. But yeah, I don't know. I'd feel better. Again, I think one of the biggest strengths is everything is contextualized in this game. And I'm skipping ahead a little tiny bit in that I walked past there's a picture of the family in the very first room. And I walked past it, and I looked at the nameplate, and I went, why does this look like shit? Why does this nameplate look so garbage? This is not what nameplates look like. And I just, I was being a little cynical, and I walked by it, and I didn't really think about it again. I just thought it was really weird that they picked such a shitty-looking texture for their nameplate. And then I got to Sam's room, and there's a note from her shop teacher about making a nameplate and how shitty it looks. And I was like, you know what, game? Really impressed me. Like, it's the little things like that make Gone Home better than most.
Yeah. That's what really drew me in. For me, it was a very immersive experience. Right away, this subtle tension in the game. This uncomfortable feeling that I couldn't place for a majority of the game. And these little notes that, if you have one thought process, could mean something completely different than if you thought a different way.
Yeah.
So for me, going in the first time, I thought this game was about suicide. Everything is laid out in the sense that this person's gone. And they've gone from their mortal coil completely. And I felt really depressed. I was like, oh, I don't... And, and as you go through, you're reading all these things that are leading towards teen angst and suicide. Like, I'm going to go ahead and blow the lid off this fucking thing. This game's about lesbians. And not even
I would
in
say
a bad way or anything like that. It's
the big twist of the game.
Sure.
I don't think it's about that as much as I think it's about, like, the normal stuff that these games are about. Growing up, like, stuff like that.
Well, the game is definitely taking this concept that it's a tough thing to talk about in real life.
Especially in 1995.
Oh, yeah.
During the great gay wars of 1995.
The gay wars. Yeah, so it's a tough topic. And back then, I mean, there was, as evidence in the game, an entire genre of music based around discussing those topics, which is Riot Girl, where these empowered women were trying to voice that they have feelings for other people, like outside the norm.
Yeah.
And because everything in pop music is about a boy and a girl, and here they had a chance to really...
I kissed a girl and I liked it. What a good pop song about...
I'm gonna die. So the game immediately threw me into this, like, oh man, I gotta know what's going on, because I can't sit here, I can't go to bed thinking about this game, because I know I'll think about it, like, oh, is she dead? Like, I gotta know. I was very concerned. So one of the first things you're really presented with this game is your father's library.
Presented is a funny word.
I mean, it's
everything in this game. Keep in mind, I'm going to say it one more time. I really like this game. I really, really like this game. I almost love this game. But everything I have to talk about pretty much is a negative thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I don't want them to feel like they're overwhelming the rest of it. Because again, it's really hard to qualify the good parts of this game. Because they hit a nerve that is really special.
I'm going to try my very best to only talk about the positives while you talk about the negatives.
That's probably for the best.
But hopefully, and if I don't cover something, just let me know, and I will. I'll talk about anything positive.
And this isn't really a negative, even. It's just because of the way that the game is structured. Everything is provided with a litany of evidence. Everything is everywhere. Oh, your dad's kind of a conspiracy theorist, kind of paranoid guy. Every square inch of anything related to him is that. Like, because you could potentially miss it if it weren't everywhere. Like, it doesn't... It's literally the only times in the whole game when I go, I'm in a video game house.
Well...
Because the rest of the time, everything feels so real. You walk into a room, and instinctively, I know where to turn on the light switches, because they're real people rooms, and the light switches are usually in normal places.
Yeah.
It's like, every room, I know that there is a scale going on because of how games work, where the house is out of scale because it has to be because you're going to walk around it, and I never notice it. It's really, really weird. It's a really weird feeling when you walk around and you go into a room that's dark and you just go, boom, the lights are on. Like, it feels like you walked into a real room that people really use. And you don't run into that very much in video games. It's really to their benefit. I mean, especially because the entire game's about a fucking house, so it better feel real. But it really does, which is really good.
It's the complete opposite of the Resident Evil mansion, where none of these rooms are real rooms used by anybody.
Well, to be fair, the Spencer Mansion's not really it's not supposed to be a real mansion.
Understandable. Okay, then let me correct myself. It's like
the Spencer estate is what you're talking about from Resident Evil 5. I gotcha.
Resident Evil 2 is about a police station that literally makes no
doesn't
sense
function at all
as a police station. I mean, this house functions. You can see how it was put together and how it works.
Yes.
It doesn't have to make sense because it's an older, weird house, and it's explained away with having an eccentric uncle.
It is a real life Spencer Mansion.
Yeah.
Like, it's exactly what it is. It's a weird uncle, like, who built a bunch of weird corridors through his house and stuff like that.
And that's fine.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. I thought it was really fun, actually. I thought it was really cool. I could see myself as a kid playing through all that stuff just like they did.
But I feel like the things are presented to you. Like, oh, yeah, your dad's a conspiracy theorist. But there's these little things in there that outweigh all that entirely. And that really shines through with the mother and her little subplot.
Hers is much more subtle.
Yes.
The issue is every once in a while you run into something that is so insanely unsubtle that you're like,
but I think that's how it is. It's in real life. If you have to spoil this game, there's a broken marriage here.
You've already spoiled the game once, so
yeah. But to spoil it even more into the greater details of it, there's this marriage, and the father is clearly obsessed with what he's doing, with his book and all these things, and doing this research. Like, that's all he really focuses on. That's why there's so much of it, and you don't really see a whole lot from your mom. And she's looking for attention, but all his attention is going towards his books, and that's why there's so much of it.
And one nudie magazine.
Oh yeah, sure. Everyone has one, so but that seems.
I just thought it was funny.
But that seems real to me. Like,
yeah. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just saying I thought it was funny.
In 1995, if they had the internet, he would be on porn instead of satisfying his wife. That's just the way it is for some reason. Like, it felt very real to me. Like, oh yeah, like, things don't work. Like, you've been married for so long. Over 21 years because they have a 21-year-old daughter. Like,
well, that doesn't mean they're married.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they have a long-standing
Let's
marriage.
say at least 15 years, at the very least.
Because they have a second daughter.
Exactly.
You know, and so him being obsessed with that really made the mother, who's clearly feels distanced, make sense because she's writing these subtle notes, almost looking for attention.
Hers feel way more real than the dad's. It's these little things in the beginning of the game especially. And I think it's because they're trying to ease you into, hey, look around.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of a game design thing going on where you have to say, here, you should be paying attention to your environment. I just think it hurts his narrative, which I think is actually a really interesting narrative because it feels ever so slightly less real when it's plastered everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's, like, it's fine. I don't mind it so much. I just think it's just a note for me. Like, it's just weird when you walk into a room and it's just like, oh, here's everything says you're conspiracy. Like, I got it. Like, especially it stands out more because, and all these things are like this. It stands out so much purely because everything else in the game feels so real.
Yeah.
So the couple things that don't feel real or don't feel right stand out like a story. Like, they stand out way more than the rest of it. Real quick, your main motivation after when you realize that you're not going to be your parents aren't around, your main motivation for exploring slowly becomes to just find out stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm trying to remember the first note that your sister leaves you that's on the door.
No, it just says we're not here.
Yeah, but it's
We'll be back soon.
I think with that's the part of those letters being read to you early lets you fill with dread because you're starting to like put together your own story.
Yeah,
because it's out of order technically. Like you're reading.
You get the notes in order.
You get the notes in order, yes, but you're getting them early, and they're being presented with things that are kind of related to the notes. Every once in a while, you'll pick up and go, oh, and she'll start talking about something. Like you go into the Nintendo room,
Yes.
and she'll start talking about the neighbor who
Yes.
let her borrow it.
Yep.
Like it's not hers.
Yep.
It's whoever had it before she moved. And so you get that letter where she says, oh, I should really talk to him.
Yeah. I think a part of me really wishes that I went into it blind because I'm missing a whole horror element.
Yeah.
And I think there's definitely you're supposed to think it's a ghost story kind of deal. Because the house constantly makes noises.
Yeah.
Lights go out. Everything is very moody and dark, and you hear things, and I think it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be expecting something like that happening, something spooky to happen.
Yeah.
Eventually, I think no matter what, you would kind of start to realize, like, no, nothing spooky is going to happen.
For me, I never really felt spooked. I just felt dread. Like,
yeah.
And I don't know why. I just nothing really made me feel scared. It was just like, because everything felt so natural. Like, yeah, houses make sounds and they do these things. This is normal. And yeah, you're doing this, but it makes sense because your house would do this. Like if you were walking around your parents' house with the lights off and it's storming out, it would be
Throwing
scary.
around pencils.
Yeah. It would be a scary experience.
Well, yeah.
Because you don't know if anyone's actually home. You just... Because there could be. You don't know. Because it's such a big house and you've never been in it.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
it's
Which I didn't realize at first.
Yeah, you've never been in this house because they
was
moved
like-
while you were gone.
Yeah, I didn't realize that halfway through, and I went, oh, that feels weird.
So that's why it's got this small horror element, but it's not...
I think in the very first act,
Yeah.
it's definitely like, you're supposed to be walking around thinking something happened.
Yes. And that's what I felt. I felt like something bad happened. I don't know what yet. Like, I'm going to come across a murder scene.
That's definitely you know what? Into the first half of the second act, which I would call the upstairs. Because what happens is you walk around the downstairs, there's a TV broadcast that makes no sense. For a couple reasons. One, Katie doesn't seem the least bit worried that she is under an evacuation notice. She doesn't give a shit. That TV is just going over and over again. And I know that it's in the county because I just read that was that county. There's an evacuation notice for your county.
Yeah.
Which Katie just ignores. It also plays constant.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. But it just feels really weird when you go, regardless. You understand. It's setting up this atmosphere of spooky.
Very, yeah.
And as you walk down that hallway, that light goes out, too.
Yes.
And you walk around, you get to, so you get to the second floor, I think. You get to the second floor.
There's 3 floors?
2 floors.
Isn't there an attic as well?
4 floors.
Jesus.
Count what you want to count. I think there's a basement. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if the basement is on the first floor.
No, it's under.
Okay.
For sure.
And if you want to count the attic, it's all room.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that big, you're right.
Anyway.
Sure.
So you're walking down. It's first floor, spooky. Second floor, extra spooky. Because you get up there, pitch black almost. You turn on the lights like you would normally. But it's still pretty dark up there. You head a corner. You go into the parents' bedroom first.
Yes.
It's the first thing you see. No. Sam's room is the first thing you see.
And then you come back out,
Yeah.
and that's when you go into that bathroom where there's blood everywhere.
Right.
Except it's not blood.
Well, for me, and I think it worked especially well because what I did was I went, and I could have sworn I went into the parents' room first. It's really hard to remember. But regardless, you go into the parents' room, all the stuff's out.
Yeah, like they got out quick.
Yes.
Yep.
Which Katie also doesn't give a single shit about.
No.
So she, whatever, same thing. You walk out, but down at the end of the hallway is the fucking attic, which looks like a murder hole.
Yeah.
Like
all the lights around it.
Yeah, it's really, really dark. It's framed really well. It's supposed to look spooky.
Yeah.
I think.
It is spooky.
And then you go into the tub, and the first thing you think is blood or that. But then there's hair stuff right next to it, and every ounce of being spooky kind of goes out the window.
Well, exactly. In that first instance, you're like, oh no, this is the teen angst I was thinking it was going to be. But then immediately you're greeted with, oh, pink hair dye.
Yeah.
And she explains that in her thing.
And I think you a little bit. There's still a little bit of like it kind of feels like a red herring. Keep in mind, I knew there was nothing spooky in this game.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this purely like objectively, trying to at least when you go, I think it's still you're supposed to expect something a little bit spooky as you head into the basement, which is spooky anyway.
Yeah.
You know, going into the basement. You know, they Sam, through notes, you realize, finds a friend named Lonnie.
Yeah, who's in ROTC.
Yes, and you find her picture very early on.
Yeah, it's very cute.
Adorbs.
Yeah.
Totes. She finds a friend, and she has all these notes about a friend who gives a shit.
Who has friends?
Who has friends? We don't.
It's true.
So her and Lonnie do something that I feel nostalgic about, even though I don't think I actually did it. So I don't know why I'm nostalgic for it. But they find out that this house was built by a crazy man, basically.
Their uncle.
Who's also a rapist.
Their uncle, but Sam's uncle.
Sam's uncle.
Who is known as the Psycho House.
Yes, the house is known as the Psycho House.
Yeah.
Probably because his uncle, or her uncle, is a horrible person, but we'll get to that.
Will we?
No, because I didn't actually open that safe. I looked it up online. So we won't get to it.
Oh.
But he is, I think.
I don't remember it. I think there's like a news article.
Yeah, there's a news article that's like, I did something horrible. And you go, all right.
All right, well, you're dead, so who cares?
Yeah.
There's no relevance on this game.
No. He did something horrible to the dad, I think. Or is it the mom? I don't remember.
I'll have to look.
Whoever's uncle it is, he like abused them.
I don't remember that
so
subplot. But again, it's been a couple years.
It adds a little tiny bit to the story.
Sure.
That's meaningless, really.
I mean, yeah, because you never meet these characters.
Correct. So you head into the basement through a bunch of these secret passageways that Sam and Lonnie find. And it feels really cool because you read all their notes and they're talking about these passageways, and it feels like something you would do when you were younger. Like,
yeah.
It seems super fun to like stay up and try to find ghosts that aren't there. Like,
it goes from it immediately flips it where you were afraid of ghosts to them looking for a ghost. So now there isn't ghosts, which is really.
I think you think there could be, right? Because as you head into the basement, you flip a switch, which is the spookiest part. There's a fucking cross there, and crosses are spooky no matter what.
Always.
For some reason,
that's because I'm a vampire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I went because the game's graphics, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 graphics.
And I played
they're really good.
They're pretty good. Yeah, they're Unity, but they're pretty good.
I'm surprised with Unity constantly lately. So.
Yes. So you walk in and there's a cross that's super creepy. Like it's clearly made to look like a creepy cross. It has like little nails on it. And you pick that up and then the light explodes and you go, oh no. But as you head further into the basement, you really, because there's that little you're also in the basement. Like if something spooky is going to happen, it will happen here. Mm-hmm. And as the notes continue to come in, from the ether, I guess, from the Nooniverse or the Noonosphere. That's a stalker reference.
Shut the fuck up.
as they come in through the ether or whatever, wherever they're coming from.
Yeah.
The morphogenic field, right?
I got it. Jesus. How many times?
I hate these notes. They're my least favorite part of the game. They're my second least favorite part of the game.
Okay.
I'll get to the first one when I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get to that. So
spooky basement.
Spooky basement. You're walking down the spooky basement, and as the notes continue to come in, you realize that the game has thrown out the spookiness, so you should probably throw out the spookiness. Like,
yeah,
it becomes clear in a really weird kind of meta way, where you go, oh, the narrative stopped caring about the spooky ghost, so clearly I should too. Like, they're not putting any more focus on it, so I'm done. Like,
and the rest of the house isn't like that.
Exactly.
And that's really cool.
It's moody, but it's not
spooky.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that. It's got, like, you go in the garage, you go in the kitchen. That stuff's all pretty normal.
Yeah, I still don't really know why all the drawers are out in the parents' room. I don't really care either, but...
Well, they left because of the evacuation.
Why the fuck is Katie there?
She's a fucking retard. She doesn't...
Oh, Jesus. I'll get to Katie,
Eventually.
who is my absolute least favorite character. She's fucking shit.
Yeah, she doesn't do anything.
She's horrible. I hate Katie, and I have to play as her, apparently. She's the most retarded notes. Every time she looks at something, you get a little, like, blurb of what she says, and they're all meaningless. They're all just, oh, look at the first place trophy I got, because I'm better.
I'm better than my sister. Or she's not a lesbian, because I'll fucking kill her.
I'll kill her. Katie's horrible. That's her canon character. Don't play this game. It's anti-LGBT.
I mean, really, that's what it seems like now. Now that I'm looking back on it.
I look back on it and I see the horror of Katie. That's why they made a bunch of movies about her. The Paranormal Activity movies. They're all about Katie and how she got possessed by the ghost of the uncle in that house, because it really was a ghost story. And so Katie grows up. I'll stop. I'm sorry. I had a whole little thing.
Yeah, I can tell.
Because I know the structure of the Paranormal Activity movies. I won't.
I got it. So, I think this is a good time for me to mention that at this point, there's a lot of information that's not being force-fed to you. You don't have to read every note, and if you choose not to, there's a lot that you're missing out on.
The main narrative is forced on you, and that's fine.
It's the main narrative. You should. That's the message they want you to get.
Right. That's fine.
But you get to miss out on a lot of the nuance. Again, I mention it now because this is where you really get the mother side.
Yes.
Because she has her little notes about her coworker and how they're going to go see
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yes, I was going to say Sticks. I knew that wasn't right.
No.
And it really struck a chord because you can tell she wrote that, and it's like, is she trying to make him like, is she trying to do anything here to really pull this marriage? Or does she just not care? It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell for two reasons. One, it seems like everyone in this family just leaves any amount of sensitive material just fucking out.
Just anywhere. Pin to the fucking fridge. They don't give a shit.
Sam leaves potentially, like, she mentions...
She should have been Baker acted a long time ago.
No, when you get to the dining room, she talks about in your head. She talks about how, like, she wanted to keep it a secret and how awful her parents took it. So clearly she wanted to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
Because she probably assumed that her parents were going to not take it so great. To this end, she leaves notes everywhere.
Yeah.
About everything.
I mean, yes.
Like, I don't really understand. I get it because it's a game, but Gone Home elevates itself enough and so often that I feel like I shouldn't feel that way ever. I shouldn't look at something and go, well, it's a game. I need that. Because everything else is so natural, it feels weird that she's just leaving out these pretty sensitive notes everywhere for anyone to see, really.
I mean, they're literally everywhere. Like, it's nuts.
That's there's, like I said, it's kind of nitpicky, but still, it feels weird, especially when the rest feels so correct.
But it just makes me wonder:
is she putting them out for attention?
Yeah.
And to the game's credit, I think that is a valid thing to kind of ask.
When you're an angsty teen, you want people to know that you're an angsty teen.
Oh, real quick, how the fuck did she hide her entire basement bullshit from everyone? Does no one go in the basement ever?
No.
Okay.
No, why would they go down there? They just got the house.
Well, They just got the house,
Everything's
and she has an entire zine being printed down there.
Yeah, dude. There's ghosts. They're not going to go down there.
That seemed. I got down there and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I thought about it for a second and I was like, I don't know. I feel like. And then she has this moment where she goes, the parents found the zine. It's like, yeah, you think you have a printing press downstairs. Like, yeah, they found the zine. Like, you have boxes and boxes of them.
Yeah.
Like, you have a whole little, like, manufacturing
process.
center down there.
Yeah.
Very weird, but again, all fine. It's all nitpick stuff. Like, the rest really feels correct.
Yeah.
And it feels bad for me to be nitpicking this stuff.
Well, it was cool because, I mean, I know people who have zines.
Yeah.
So it really struck a chord. Like, people who were trying to do that. And the game really wanted to kind of cover the entire 90s.
It feels very 90s. I mean, if
'Cause
you'll
it is.
only get it if you're a 90s kid.
Yeah, only 90s kids remember this.
So, it's weird. I feel, playing the game, I was a child in 95.
Yeah, as was I.
Like, it feels very nostalgic.
Yeah.
The whole game.
And that's one of the things, like, I mean, from playing Nintendo, watching VHS tapes, having cassette tapes in general, like, I had hundreds of cassette tapes.
I liked, there's a moment where you are in the living room and you have all those VHS tapes that were stolen. Not stolen,
but
they're
recorded from TV?
Recorded, yeah. And my family had all those in
Yep.
their living room. And I was like, oh, this, it does a really good job of going, hey, remember when you were like this?
And people did that.
Without feeling like it was pandering to me.
No, because it's all natural.
Yeah, it feels pretty natural. Yeah, and I liked, there's a lot to like. I like picking stuff up and examining it. I fucking hate the flip cases. Because they say little things on the inside of the flip cases, but there's no way to hold them to be able to read it.
Yeah. Because it always flips closed.
Yeah. So I had to do it. There's recording me doing it for so long. Just trying to figure out. And then all it said in there, it was a Lonnie tape. And I think all the tapes that are like that are Lonnie tapes. And it just said, there's nothing here. And I was like, I fucking hate you, Lonnie. And I threw that case across the fucking hallway. Like I threw most things in this game.
I just wanted to real quick, before I move on, because that's all I have left written. Mm-hmm. Even things I didn't experience personally in my life, I felt like there was nostalgia for it in this game. Especially if you watch TV in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Like I watched Pete and Pete religiously. That was one of my favorite television shows of all time. And it's still watchable now, which is really weird. It's like this little time capsule of the 90s in television form. You just go watch it and you go, oh yeah. But the game's like a time capsule, and they covered a lot of bases without ever feeling forced towards me. Like, oh yeah, remember this from the 90s? Bop it,
Yeah, I wanted to open Sam's closet and just be covered in boppets.
Just like
boppets and those baby bottle pops and things you put on your fists that were like air cushions. Are those boppets? No,
those were, huh?
Rock'em sock'em.
They weren't Rock'em
fists.
Sock'em robots.
Rock'em sock'em fists.
It was
Sock'em sockets.
Yeah, something like that.
Punching gloves.
Only 90s kids remember it. That's all you don't remember.
Yeah, because I was born in 2007. I definitely felt a lot of nostalgia for things, and then would go, I didn't actually experience that, so I don't know why I have this nostalgia for it.
But that's what it's good at doing.
Yes.
It created this little universe that existed for real, and they just put a story in it.
Yeah, it does a really good job of it. I think one of the strongest aspects of this game is actually from a gameplay thing, which nobody ever talks about this from this game. Everyone only talks about narrative. I do, and there's a reason for that. Mainly because most of the gameplay is fucking dumb, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that is gameplay related and is really, really cool. And it's exploring the house and how it weaves together. Because it weaves together in such a satisfying way that when you come out of that locked door from the other side and go, oh, I know everything about this house now.
Yeah.
It actually, what's really cool is you get that stupid ethereal note from Sam about the sugar skull head. Mm-hmm. Which in my playthrough, one of the first things I picked up and went, okay. And I put it back down. And you come out of that door And the sugar skull's there, and you go, I remember that. Wow, this has a lot more meaning than I remembered. It's cool. I like I said before, I was spoiled.
Yep.
I knew that the whole point was that Sam and Lonnie were in lesbians with each other. And I knew that there was no horror element actually in the game. That said, I still came away surprised by other stuff.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. I kept getting surprised. I kept going, oh, look at this whole thing about this dad that I didn't realize. Look at this whole thing with this mom. Look at all this other stuff. I for a long time compared this to Dear Escher.
Yeah.
Dear
Unfairly.
Dear Esther. Unfairly because this game's better.
Yeah.
I like Dear Esther.
And I agree that Dear Esther is good, but it's boring. And
Yeah.
I want to like it, but it's
There's
hard.
not that much to like, I don't think.
Especially when
the
games
more-
like Gone Home and Stanley Parable take that concept
Yes.
to the limit that I think you can take it, functionally, where you're doing things.
Yes.
Without it becoming shoot guns.
Shoot gun, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the colloquialism is walking simulator.
Yeah.
And of them, Gone Home and Stanley Parable are special. I believe Stanley Parable is better.
Oh, yeah.
But
But I think that
Home,
from a gamer perspective, I think
it's better in general. I think it has much more important things to say, but I think that's for a different...
But I think that's for gamers.
Right.
Versus, I think this game is more open to someone. If they'd never played a game, but they got the chance to play Gone Home, they would take away a much more impactful message than someone who...
Yeah, I do think...
If they've played Stanley Parable, why do I have this fucking baby game? Like,
Well-
the baby game won't make any sense to someone who's not a gamer. The art ending is going to be nonsense to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, they'll never get that anyway. I do agree, maybe... I think you do definitely benefit in Stanley Parable from having played games. I think there are a couple endings that really lose their meaning if you haven't.
Yeah.
But I think in general, I think it's just better as an artistic game. It succeeds better because it is more of a game, and it's much more. This is a segue. It's much more comfortable being a game because Gone Home constantly feels like it is very uncomfortable about it being a game.
Yeah.
That's not to say it could work in any other medium. Gone Home only works because it's a game. It only works because you get to pick up the pieces. You get to look at all the things. However, the second you start trying to put yourself in the shoes of Katie the shitlord, everything starts to fall apart. This is my biggest complaint about the game. I, as a player, and I, as Katie, are two separate people.
Yes.
That make no sense together.
Yeah.
I walk into that room, and as a normal person, I go, I'm going to hang out in the kitchen and eat a food or something.
Yeah, you would think you'd pull something out. You just got off this red-eye flight.
Yeah. Or like sit down and just wait for your parents, not immediately start snooping around everywhere. The note says, we'll be back soon.
Yeah.
And if I read that note, I'd go, okay, well, we just moved into this house and I'm technically a guest. Like, I wouldn't just start going through my parents' stuff immediately. Like,
Well, I don't know. I think it... I don't know. I'd have to replay the beginning just to wonder if there's anything there that lets you go, oh, maybe I should go investigate more.
there's not.
Because I feel like maybe there was like a machine. There's the answering machine that says, Katie or Sam's like, I had to go. And you go, why? It seems really concerning. So I think that's kind of what inspires you to investigate more.
It always feels weird when I remember that I'm Katie.
Yeah.
Like the evacuation bulletin where I go, all right. Katie doesn't give a single fuck. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it was the 90s. No one gave a shit.
I guess so.
Do you remember Hurricane Andrew where everyone got fucking plowed over by that hurricane because no one gave a fuck about leaving? Yeah, I mean, that's what it's like. People just don't care.
I guess. I don't know. It just always, like, you go upstairs and all the drawers are open in my parents' room. I'll just keep exploring this cute little fucking ghost story. Like, everything feels really odd when you start realizing that I, as a player, have totally different motivations than Katie as a human being should have. And the game would benefit from... the game would benefit, in my opinion, from not having you be Katie
Who
at
would you
all.
be?
I don't fucking know, but Katie is horrible.
Psycho uncle.
Psycho uncle. Psycho uncle. He comes down, you get to go through the room, and you go, I see you've been playing a lot of Stanley Parable.
That's the secret ending.
Yeah. No, I don't know how. You know, in the game's current narrative, it doesn't work. And I admit that, and I have no idea how it would work, but I'd much rather be a person who doesn't fucking know these people. And who somehow has access to the house.
Maybe you have to go visit the house to take care of an animal.
Yeah.
And you're trying to...
A neighbor.
Like, you're trying to find the animal. Like a boy who liked Sam, but now you find out that Sam's a lesbian. And it makes sense why she took your Nintendo and didn't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
You know, like something weird like that.
Yeah, something else, because first of all, it feels weird because I, as Katie, know what my parents look like and know what Sam looks like and, like, have memories of them. I, as a player, don't know who the fuck these people are.
Yeah.
Like, they're all alien to me. Everything I find out is the new thing that I found out. Like, there shouldn't be a revelation when I look at a picture of someone.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
You were only gone for a year, I think, so it doesn't really make any sense at all.
Like, it's not like they're distant people that I don't remember what they look like. They're just my parents who I've lived with forever, and Sam, my younger sister, who I live with forever. Like, and then the game gains nothing from having me be Katie, because the only thing Katie has to say are dumb bullshit about, like, she looks at things. You go down in the basement and you hear all these things that Sam said. Well, I guess you don't, which is confusing and stupid. Let's pretend you hear things that Sam, or at this point you have notes. Like, whatever. You go down in the basement. The only thing you have to say is, "Look at this trophy."
Yeah.
Like, why am I this person who is so awful?
Yeah.
She's not awful. It's just she makes no sense. Like, it feels weird. I also don't think that they should let you throw things around, personally. Like, they have that put back button. That should be my only option.
Yeah, I mean, if there's other games that are just like that, so why they let you physics object things for no reason?
It feels... literally, the second I realized that, for, like, minutes of time, totally taken out of the game.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, throw shit around, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm in a video game.
Mm-hmm.
And for a game that does so well, treating me like I'm not in a video game, it has a really hard time with simple things like that.
Yeah, and it doesn't really make sense.
I have a problem with the main conceit of the narrative, which is just that you play Katie.
Yeah.
The other thing I don't like is just the notes, because I think that they could have done it in a way...
The letters, you mean, or the notes?
The letters.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The notes are...
I think the notes are better than the letters. The letters don't make sense. They just show up.
I'm not going to say they're perfect, but they're damn near perfect.
Yeah.
In any other video game, they would have been lauded as perfection.
Yeah.
In this, they feel... Again, another problem with everything feeling so real is when things don't feel real, they stick out a lot. It feels a little bit off because they're everywhere, but that's fine. And I can explain it away a little bit in that maybe she wants someone to see because she's a teen and teens aren't smart.
The dad's not paying attention.
Right.
And the mom is clearly distracted with her new boy toy.
Right.
So it makes sense that she's trying to get attention.
I can explain it away.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine by me. The letters don't make sense, and I hate them.
Yeah.
When they could have done... Like, they do all these creative little things. Like, they show that the house has little cabinets and stuff like that. They could have easily had Sam leave Katie a note that was like, listen to these things, I want to show you these things.
Sure.
And leave them around the house. And have Sam be telling Katie a story, which is what she's doing, but she's not.
Yeah, it makes no
like,
sense.
When you pick things up, you get parts of the letter, which Sam could be doing. But she's not, because all the letters are upstairs. So you're not...
So, upstairs.
Oh, what about upstairs?
Going up there, I was
the
ready.
Attic?
Yeah. I was ready for death.
Suicide? Yeah. I knew, so.
Because they had this little altar.
Yeah, I thought it was really weird, yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, ritual suicide. I can't wait for this.
Yeah.
You know, these two young lesbians are going to kill each other. Mutually.
Yeah.
And then to get up there, and there was no one, it was like relief. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, thank God. They killed themselves somewhere else.
Good, finally.
Yeah, and they don't have to stink up the house. No, it was just this really surreal moment because I think it starts to say the last note.
Yeah.
And she's like, I went to go get Lonnie. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. Like, this whole time, she's confused about her feelings. And she found connection through a person. And even if it's not right, she doesn't care because it makes her happy.
Yeah.
And so she goes out and tries to get her girlfriend, whatever.
No, they just go out together because Lonnie's like, I can't do it.
No, if she goes to pick her up because
Yeah.
she's calling her from a payphone. She's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to go to ROTC Armies.
Yeah.
Come get me. And she was like, okay. And she left. That's why she left. That was the whole...
Yep.
And I was like, oh, she didn't kill herself. I'm so happy. And these two people are going to live and be happy and not kill each other. Good. And that's it. The end.
Yeah. I thought it was nice.
and
And
it-
I knew what was going to happen. I still thought it was nice.
Yeah, I think it was very tasteful.
Yep.
It didn't feel contrived.
Yep. I knew even if I hadn't known, I think I would have known that they weren't going to kill themselves because there's no way that they were going to model people.
Yeah. But I felt like I was worried that I'd find a bloody note or
Yeah.
it would allude
Something-
to it.
I think that would have been a lot less good.
Because, like, the parents leaving in a hurry was like, maybe they're going to the hospital. That's why things are like this. Like,
Well, but then they wouldn't have left a note on the door that said, "We'll be right back."
No, I know. And
Yeah, I understand.
But by that point, I'd kind of forgotten about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like, I was getting really into it and concerned. And I felt it was really weird that door was just there. And it exists without you going through the house to get to the...
yeah.
You
You
could
can-
just go
Speedrun.
right there. And I was like, oh, that's really weird. Because I tried it. I was like,
really-
is that there the whole time? And I went and I was like, oh.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
also.
it's really strange. You could just beat the game and be done.
Yeah, on accident.
So, I don't know what else we need to talk about.
I would like to point out one more time that
Okay.
there is a problem in a game when I walk away from a note and go right back to it and go, what the fuck is my name again? That is an issue. That should tell you there's a problem when I have to walk back to the door and read my own name again.
Yeah.
That to me, that seems like a very big disconnect between player and character. And I think that should have been there. If they ever saw a playtester, which I doubt they did because I don't think they... Well, you know what? I take that back. It feels like they playtested this game.
They showed it off at PAX, I think.
Okay.
At the indie booths.
Uh-huh.
I think because they canceled out after PAX came out against trans people.
Oh, interesting.
So they never went back to PAX after that.
Well, I feel like if they ever got that note that said, hey, I don't remember what my name is. Like, you could still have letters to Katie and be a different person.
Yeah.
You don't have to. And in fact, maybe that's more impactful because I get to look at through this other lens of, oh, the sister's not here. Like, she really needs her to be here, but she's not. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense. I really like that better than
it
playing as aloof sister.
yeah, who doesn't give a shit about anything? Like, it feels weird because me as a player, my motivations are different than Katie's. Like, I want to explore the house and find out what happened. I don't care about these people because I don't know them personally. Like, if I found out mom has a dildo in her room, like, I'm not going to care. Like, because it's not my mom. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. Like, it feels really odd.
Like, there should have been like a comment, oh, gross. You know, if you're getting to these little things, but that's not really there with Katie.
Well, Katie does. She looks at the nudie mag and she goes, "Oh, Dad."
Yeah, right.
Like, it's just weird. Whereas, like, as a player, I could be like, "Oh,
Dad.
I wouldn't even need these little Dad. Nice one."
High five, Dad.
Where I don't even need those dumb little notes as a player because I get to make them on my own. Like, if I'm a character who doesn't know these people very well or at all, even
You could say them to yourself in real
exactly,
life.
and that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be a much stronger narrative, and instead I have dumb Katie, and I have to. I get taken out of the fucking game constantly by realizing I'm a person
Yeah.
in this game. Like, that's not good. That's my biggest criticism.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Sound design, amazing.
Oh, yeah. The soundtrack and the music that
Yes.
they got, because a lot of it is real bands.
Yes.
Um,
Except when you walk out of a room earlier than the game thinks you're going to walk out of the room. Because I noticed that, is it just goes, all right, song's done. And I was like, okay.
All right, fine.
But in general, the sound
Yeah.
design's really good. The original soundtrack hits notes really well. Like, when you're walking around the house and you start to get the letters and you start really
Yep.
realizing what's going on, it starts hitting those like cutesier notes. Not cutesier, but more melancholy than kind of scary, because in the beginning they're more ominous sounding, and then it's more like melancholy.
Yeah, it starts to lighten up, and
Yeah, and it's nice. It's good.
it's a good game.
It's good.
I like the game.
Yeah, I like the game.
You know, it's got problems, but every game really does.
Yeah.
Unless it's Undertale.
Because it's perfect.
Every game.
I said it twice already. I want to say one more time. All my negative comments, I really like the game.
Yeah.
There are definitely negative things, but the good things outweigh the negative things for me by a lot.
Yeah.
I will say Stanley Parable is better,
It is.
I think. As a game that it is a walking simulator, but not once do I ever have a thought like, why am I doing this?
I feel it's unfair to Gone Home. Like, I almost wish it came out a year before it did, because then the Stanley Parable would have been like, oh, look, we're similar, but we've taken it to the extreme.
Yes.
Versus it being the same year, so they were both... Like, well, technically, Stanley Parable was the mod first, so it was really existed beforehand.
Oh, yeah. Way before.
But...
And Dear Esther as a mod existed before Gone Home. But Dear Esther
also existed as a full retail.
Yes.
Before Gone Home.
I like Dear Esther, weirdly, because I feel like it's a game that I shouldn't like.
It's pretty.
It's pretty. It has some pretty things to say. Once you start getting into it, it's okay. It's really pretty.
Yeah,
It's really pretty.
I don't really care for it. I'd rather play Amnesia.
Because
It's scary.
scary. I like the mod version a lot more of Dear Esther, because it was like, it felt a lot more quaint in this weird ghost story kind of way. This like New England ghost story. I like that a lot. But it doesn't have anything special going on. You just walk around and you look at stuff.
Yeah.
While a guy talks to you in a way that you really shouldn't be spoken to. Like, and you don't ever have to ask the question of, who am I and why am I doing this? Because I don't even think the guy who's talking knows. So Dear Esther kind of gets to exist without those criticisms, because it doesn't really try.
Yeah.
So it doesn't give a shit, so I don't either.
I made a bunch of environments. I don't know what to do with them. A bunch of text.
Yeah,
Done.
a bunch of poetry that's about a car crash, I think. Like, cool.
It's kind of boring.
Yeah. Gone Home is much better than Dear Esther, and I feel bad for comparing them when Gone Home is much better.
Yeah. Not as good as Stanley.
No.
And still not as good as the Beginner's Guide.
No. Beginner's Guide really impressed me.
Yeah. I wish I recorded it, because it would have been a good one to talk about.
Yeah. But I think, as a little conclusion here, how we're talking about all these walking sims, I really like Gone Home as one of them. And even though I think Stanley Parable is better, I think you are right. Gone Home is probably the better one to give people.
I've given that game to people who say they don't like games, who don't think games are good, and games are for shooting, and I hand them Gone Home, and they go, "Oh, they can have a message, a sincere one."
It doesn't ever feel like it has a message, which is a mark of a good message.
Yeah, and
it doesn't feel like it beat me over the head with, like, it's not like Gone Home, and I feel like this is the boogeyman a lot of time, is Gone Home's like, you have to be a lesbian.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's just talking about two people who are in love. Like,
and they don't really know if they're lesbians, because they're young, and hormones, and that's what's cool, is you get to see this little insight into these people's lives, and you don't know what's gonna happen with them, and that's cool. I like that.
Yeah,
it's this little slice of life game.
It feels much more realistic.
Yeah.
We've played 2 games now with gay agendas. Undertale and Gone Home.
Yeah. Undertale has a lot more.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Multiple characters that are gay in some way.
Yeah, both games handle it really well, because they don't go, these are gay characters. It just goes, these are characters.
They're gay. Who cares? They're normal.
Yeah.
They're people. Or monsters.
They're people monsters.
Like,
they're more people than most people.
I think Undertale handles it better, because there's no
they don't get
awkwardness.
No, there's not a single, like,
Like here, like the parents got upset, but in Undertale, it's fine.
It's normal.
Like the dinosaur and the fish lady, it's fine. The two knights,
Yeah.
there's no question about it.
Yeah, well, the two knights are just awkward because they work together and they're like,
yeah.
you know.
That's the only weirdness is they work together, but they.
And then the Undyne and Alpha, they literally no one goes, but they're girls.
Yeah, no one, and I love that.
Single person. Yeah, it's great.
It was very refreshing.
Yes.
To have no.
To be fair, so was this.
Yeah.
For me, because again, I had it spoiled for me. I assumed it was going to be beat over my head, especially once Riot Girls music started to play. I was like, oh great, like I know where this is going, and I did know where it was going, and it was fine.
Yeah.
It felt realistic. I like this game a lot.
Me too. It got Game of the Year for me in 2013.
It's not going to get Game of the Year for me.
Well, no, because you
because it's
weren't
not
alive
Metal
in
Gear
2013.
Solid 5.
But I don't mean that for this year. But I think at the time when it came out, it made sense.
Oh yeah.
Like when the alternative was AAA narrative game that threw a combat system on it. I'm looking at you, BioShock Infinite, who was trying to tell a story with guns.
Gun. What's the story? Gun.
Yeah.
What's the main plot point? Gun.
Double guns.
Double gun.
Hold 2 guns.
We gotta fuck up every future. Why? We need guns.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think Gone Home was the perfect game for its time.
Maybe. I think it was. I just played it. I feel like I'd have enjoyed it more slightly if I hadn't have been spoiled. But
Yeah.
I think it's almost better to have it spoiled because I get to look at it a little bit more objectively.
Sure.
I get to look at it a little bit more objectively, kind of, like mildly, just because I know that, oh, they're lesbians and there's no spookiness. So I'm not constantly, like, my mind's not in that stuff. I get to just sit there and think about what I'm thinking about.
You get to view it from a game perspective, whereas
Yeah.
I really viewed it from a story perspective and
Right.
how it was going to weave together and what the ending was going to be. Especially since all I had heard was it was a great game and nothing else about it. And I was
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll play it. And I did. And I was like, it deserves some money. And I bought it immediately. Like, I was like, here's the $20 or $14, however much it was. I didn't care because it was so good. And I immediately let a friend play it. And she was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And it really spoke to her because she dealt with that kind of stuff. And that's why I wanted her to play it.
It's very hip.
Yeah.
I like it.
It made me feel good at the end.
We are now 3 for 3 games we like.
Whew. I can't wait to hate one.
Me neither. I'm really excited to hate one.
I just feel like it's going to be a really short one if we hate it.
We're just gonna go. Shit.
Yeah, this sucks.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna end it still.
I don't know either. So I'm just going to stop it.
No, wait.
Oh. I love you.
all right. Fuck you. Stop it. It's like that part in Green Lantern where Hal Jordan has sex with a 16-year-old girl who's in the body of an 18-year-old girl because she ages up her body using the power of the green ring, and it's not creepy at all. It's totally different. It's really good. You should read it. Green Lantern's great. Hal Jordan's not a pedophile. Fuck you.
I'm going to have to just leave all that in.
I hope so. Her name's Arisa.
Arisa.
She might be 14. I don't know, but she just goes, ring, make me older, and the ring goes, okay.
Yeah, whatever. I'm sure that won't have any consequence to your life.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I figured. I've read a comic once.
She gets to fuck Hal Jordan.
Yeah, who would? He blew up a city. I heard.
He blew up a fucking city.
He blew up a motherfucking city, dude. The whole fucking city.
He blew up a whole fucking planet. He killed all of Oa, dude.
Oa's dead.
I think it comes back. I think the green ring goes, nah, you're back. Fuck
Hello and welcome to Goodnight Channel.
you. Oh, fuck my life. Oh, fuck my life. Oh, fuck my life. Oh, fuck my life. Oh, fuck